Luigi's Mansion is probably the only game that can get me to play a puzzle game for over 10 hours.
Hey J Review.
Welcome back to another Hey J Casual Review, where we're going to look at Luigi's Mansion 3 1 year later, because last year I made the mistake of going with Link's Awakening. Although, now I'm thinking maybe that wasn't such a mistake, because Luigi's Mansion 3 was a game that I was absolutely in love with for the first 2 hours, maybe first 4 hours, and then that love just kind of waned away like something that wanes. I don't know, like eating too much chocolate and then you get like a stomach ache. So let's break it down. First of all, disclaimer, Luigi's Mansion 3 is my first Luigi's Mansion game ever. I never played the original, the second one, the remakes on the 3DS. The only things that I know about Luigi's Mansion are the theme song, which I love, and was quite disappointed that it's not really that it's not really used much in this one. Like it's there a little bit, but I would have loved to have heard it more. And what else? I played Nintendo World, which has a little Luigi's Mansion segment where you kind of like you're the ghost and you have to scare people. And then there's the Smash Brothers stage. So that is everything I know about Luigi's Mansion. So going into this, it's my first experience. I have to say, let's get the basics out of the way. The visuals, the music, the tone, everything about this game is spot on. It looks good. Honestly, I started playing in August, and I was like, oh, I really wish I was playing this in October, because it just feels so like spooky, and it has that like feel of fall. And there's just so much diversity too. Like in every level is a new world. And all the worlds are so different from one another that it always kind of felt like a fresh experience when it comes to visuals, not when it comes to gameplay. And that's going to be kind of my major gripe with this game. Like I said, the music was good. It fit the tone well. I really wish there was the whole theme, the dun, 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 dun. Oh, his ringtone does that. So that's where they inserted it. But I really wish that it was kind of like at least on the title screen and hummed around some more. I really did love the comedic elements of this game, and I know that's something I think this franchise is known for. So just hearing Luigi making all sorts of sounds throughout the game is hilarious. You open up a drawer and there's dust, and then he like just sneezes. Like, Luigi is an amazing comic relief, and having a whole game starring that never got old with me. The ghosts, they tried to make the ghosts funny, and it was a little bit of a try hard, for lack of a better word. They weren't that charming. The bosses were good, but like the regular ghosts, they got stale in their comedy pretty quick. How to break this down? This is going to be pretty short, because the gameplay mechanic, I really love the beginning. So, because you're getting new abilities, and the first couple floors, there's all these new things introduced to you. And then by probably the 4th or 5th floor, you start seeing pretty much what it is. Here's a floor with new thematic puzzles. Solve the puzzles, beat the boss, go to the next floor, rinse and repeat. And the bosses, super creative. I loved all the boss fights. I loved all the boss characters. They did a fantastic job. And even the pacing of going from like a really intrinsic level and a boss, and then the next level would be like just a boss. There's some floors that take you a long time to explore the whole thing before you get to the boss. Some floors they throw you right into the boss right away. Sometimes you have to chase a kitty across a couple floors. That pacing was really good. I really like that. But the mechanic of Luigi's Mansion, which is let's break it down. You pretty much walk around and you're looking for gems and collectibles, which we're going to talk about those collectibles. You suck up ghosts, and you try to make your way to the middle where the boss is. It's stale. It got stale for me fairly quick, halfway into the game. And I kind of wish there was more mechanics introduced. I'm not really sure how they can do this, because I realize on the one hand, I'm hating it for the mechanics, but on the other hand, these are what puzzle games are. And that's why I tend to not get into puzzle games very much, because it's just pretty much applying the mechanics of the game to increasing level of difficulty of puzzles. And I don't know, that's not what stimulates me when it comes to video games. I guess I'm a little bit more, I need something like going a little bit faster pace, and Luigi's Mansion is definitely not fast paced. So I think it's more of a me problem than a game problem. Just the fact that it doesn't really capture my attention much beyond after you've kind of seen what the game has to offer. Now, what kind of kept me going was the fact that, okay, I'm collecting these buttons and I'm going up the elevator and maybe there's going to be something good. And in my mind was like, okay, let's go through the story. And then afterwards, I'm going to do all these collectibles because I love the fact that they tease me with, oh, there are all these hidden gems across all the levels. And there's 15 hidden boos, 16 hidden boos to find. So I was like, okay, this is good. So let me get through the story. Maybe I'll get some new abilities at the end that I can then revisit. And that was another big disappointment. So there's going to be spoilers in this, by the way. So if you don't want spoilers, maybe just skip to the end when I have my final thoughts. I was really holding out for like a super something at the end of the game that would give me a new ability, and I almost thought that's what it was when you get to the second basement level and you have to go and get like your super vacuum, as well as you get like the ability to shoot Toad to new places. I was like, oh, so at this point I was already like bored with the gameplay and they threw that in. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get like a souped up vacuum, which maybe I can like do damage to the ghost faster, and now I get like this whole Toad throwing mechanic. I love it. This is gonna refresh the gameplay for the but no, they pretty much just used the Toad flinging ability for that one level. Then they got rid of it. And then the vacuum, the super sucking vacuum ability can only be used twice in the game in very specific locations, which is a really cool effect. The fact that you get to like rip the whole room apart with your vacuum, but that's it. You can only use it there. So I'm like, oh, that's so disappointing. And adding to that disappointment, so we beat the game, and we being me, and then there's no really reward. There's no new upgrades. So I'm like, okay, should I really go like get all these gemstones and the gems and the boosts? So I looked it up because I knew it'd be like a good maybe 5 to 10 hour commitment to do all this. I'm like, do I really want to get into this? So I looked up the videos and I saw that if you get all the gems, you are rewarded with a crystal flashlight. And I was like, oh, that's so disappointing because I'm not going to play the game afterwards. So there's no point in getting that achievement. I get some people are saying, well, figuring out the puzzles to get the gems is part of the journey. And I get that. And I can see that, but I don't want to do it because the reward's not worth it. It's not worth the time investment for me. And then if you get all the boos, you get a boo face in your flashlight when you like project on the walls. And I'm like, oh, that is, again, so lame. It's a cosmetic item. And then there's the third cosmetic is if you get all the achievements, you get like a gold vacuum. And I was like, it's just, I don't know, I'm all for cosmetics, but honestly, if it would have been a little star on my save file, I think that would have been more iconic for me, because then I can take a picture of the save file and I can say I completed Luigi's Mansion 3. But now, to be able to say that, I have to pretty much take a picture in game of Luigi showing off his flashlight, his crystal thing, and his backpacks and be like, I completed Luigi's Mansion. It's just not the same. Now, if you play multiplayer, oh, that's another thing. The multiplayer mode, I have to say, I play this game entirely as a single player. So all the DLC and the multiplayer stuff has no appeal to me. I'm not going to play that. So that's another thing to consider. I'm not evaluating this game on the multiplayer aspect. Where were we? The ending, the collectibles, all of that disappointing. So a lot of disappointment in the second half. And then the other thing was the money. So yeah, I loved sucking up all the random things in the hotel because I'm like, oh, this is how you discover new things. And a lot of the times it was just finding money. And for a good like 3-4 floors, I was like, what is the point of money? Like they don't even open up a shop until much later in. And then I realized, the money is for lives and finding the extra collectibles. I'm like, okay, that's going to be handy at the end of the game. So I kept a few lives because there were some instances where I died quite a bit. And then I realized when you beat the game, the money acts as a score, and that's what gives you a ranking. So this whole time, if you were spending money on any of the shop items, you were reducing your score for the game, which is such a dick move that the game would never even explain to you that, hey, the money is how we score you at the end. So keep that in mind. If you buy some items, we're going to dock your score. That's not part of the pro player strategy. And I'm like, oh, that's so lame. Like there's so many things at the end which really left a sour, bitter note in my mouth. And it's crazy because when I started this game, like this was a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 game. I don't really like using numbers anymore, but like this game was amazing. I loved it. And it just like felt like it went down to a 6 by the end of it. What else that was a lot of it. A lot of that was my complaints, all that stuff. And the difficulty was good, but I have to say there's like around floor 10, there was a difficulty spike, which I made a note because I'm like, I gotta talk about this difficulty spike. Because the way I approached this game was I would pretty much play a floor per play session. Like I just plop on my couch. I'm like, all right, I'll do a floor or two tonight. And it was a very comfortable, smooth ride. And then like I think it was the Egyptian level, the floor. And I loved and hated that floor because that's the floor where there's sand and you can like suck up the sand and make it go down, make it go up. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And there's just a whole room filled with sand. And I kid you not, I probably spent 15 minutes just sucking up sand for no reason. Cause I was like, I felt like a kid, like going in a sandbox trying to find some treasures. And then what you end up finding is like your cat's poo that's dried up in the bottom of the sandbox. So that was fun. But then when you go in the tomb and they send you in the traps, oh my God, I hated those traps because there are 3 booby trap rooms and you have to figure it out quickly. Like you have to figure out what you have to do quickly. And I get that like Luigi only has 5 abilities. So you cycle through all 5 when there's like an intriguing spot and you usually figure it out. But there was a few rooms I just could not figure it out. The one where, so there's basically these lasers going around breaking chains, holding up the ceiling, and if you can't figure out the puzzle in time, the ceiling falls on you. Yeah, I died a lot there. And then I died a lot in another place where again the ceiling is falling with spikes, and you have to like put weights on the scale. That was so frustrating. I've never died so much in that game except for that level. And I think the one before that, I think it was like a T-Rex battle, that too killed me a few times. So I was like, what is going on here? I was not dying and all of a sudden I'm dying. I needed those gold bones. And then it was a nice, comfortable ride. Like the difficulty seems to have eased off after that. Like the whole pirate level and all that, it got kind of fun again. And then the final boss, I think, is the only other thing I want to talk about, which is King Boo, which is another character, I'm familiar with, but I never actually got to play against in a game except for like Mario Party. I really like King Boo as a character. I really kind of do want to try the other Luigi's Mansion games just to see what they're all about. That boss fight was quite hard. Like I stocked up on gold bones, aka lives, so that I had 10 lives. So I'm like, all right, well, I have all this money, I might as well use it. And I think I died 2-3 times on him, but when you die, you just respawn exactly where you are in the battle. So that's not too bad. That's good mechanic. But yeah, he was really, really challenging compared to everything else. Like I felt I was kind of like, I was not in a comfortable place. Let's just say it. My skills were pushed to a level that I was not just comfortable. I had to lean forward off my couch to finish that. But I did finish it. We got the ending, and then the disappointment ensued. So I don't know if the other Luigi's Mansion games are like this. Actually, you guys let me know if it is as disappointing or if it's just the same gameplay copy pasted with maybe less mechanics in the first and second. The mechanics were good. I mean, I can't really criticize them all. Like Luigi was a good time. I like the whole plunger thing, sucking up the plunger and then like breaking things. Like that was all fun. It's just it got stale. That's the problem. And maybe the game wasn't meant to be played. I took a month to beat this, so I feel I didn't even rush through it. I took my time with it. So those are my thoughts of Luigi's Mansion. I'd love to hear yours, especially if you've played the old ones or if you have played Luigi's Mansion 3, if you're looking to pick it up. I got this on sale. It went on sale for the first time in August, and I'm really happy with the price I paid when it was on sale. I think it was 30% off. I would have been a little disappointed paying full price just because I am not big into puzzle games. And I keep saying that because I know if you're a puzzle fan, you're going to love this game. It's a fun game for puzzle lovers. But for someone who is just like, oh, there's Luigi in it, Nintendo's pulling me in with the Mario characters, I want to play it, I want to experience it, it's not worth full price for me. And if the collectibles could have at least given you a little bit more something, I think that would have made it feel way better. But ultimately, they're very disappointing. So those are my thoughts. Let me know down below in the comments your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next Hey G review. Until then, keep it classy.